Hello. In this GED video, I will review the perfect square and the cube roots. So, so perfect squares and cube roots, uh, and they're perfect. So, question one says, how many natural numbers are there between 7 square and 8 square? So, you have to recall that between n squared and n plus 1 square, there are two n numbers where n is the positive number. So let me write this down. So the question says, how many natural numbers are there between 7 square and 8 square? So you got to recall recall that n square and n plus 1 square, there are two n numbers where n is a positive number. So the numbers 7 square, 8 square can be written as 7 square, 7 square. So the number should be n equals 7. Find the value of 2n. So um, we're going to set it up like this. It's going to be 2n 2 times 7. And then divide, this would be 2n equals 14. Divide this by 2. N equals 7. So 2n equals 2 times n, or 2 times 7, which is 14. So this proves that c equals 14. Okay, so how many natural numbers are between 7 square and 8 square? It would be 14. Question two says, what is the square root of 12.96? So there's not saying the cube root, but so they're really saying the perfect square of 12.96. So how I see it is, can you think of a number times itself twice that'll give us this number? So you can, because this is multiple choice, you can test each one. You use, so let me write this down. So yeah, what is the square root of 12.96? That is the same thing as square root of 12.96. So what we need to do is need to find number multiplied twice. to get 12.96. So it's basically saying, um, if you test each one, it's going to be 3.6. And if you don't believe me, watch. What is 3.6 times 3.6? So I'm doing this without a calculator. And when you're multiplying decimals, you don't have to line up the decimals. You just have to make sure they're aligned correctly to the right, larger number to the top, smaller number on the bottom. They're both the same, so it doesn't matter what you put on top or bottom, right? So what is 6 times 6? 36. Carry the 3. What is 6 times 3? 18. Carry the 3. What's 18 plus 3 is 18. 19, 20, and 21. Placeholder. What is 6 times 3? 18. Carry the 1. 3 times 3 is 9, plus 1 is 10. And then 6, 8 plus 1 is 9, 2 plus 0 is 2, and then 12. And then count how many decimals places there are. There's a total of 1, 2. So if you move it 2 places up, 1, 2, it is 12.56. Okay, so that's how you know it's 3.6. So I've done this without a calculator. If you, I believe you can use a calculator on the test. So if you put that in the calculator, you get 3.6. Okay, question 3 says find the value of cube root of 216 times the cube root of negative 64. So what you can do technically, there's two options you can do. Since they're both in a cube root, do you see this tiny little 3? You can write it as one singular cube root. And what you would do is multiply 216 times negative 64. Do that, you're going to get, so with a calculator, 216 times negative 64 and negative 1324, right? Okay. Can you think of a number times itself 3 times that'll give us this one? So that's how you would do it. And I guess it would be negative 24. If you don't believe me, try it out. So a number times itself 3 times. So negative 24 times negative 24 is negative 24, right? Does that give you this number, negative 13864? I believe so. That is negative 138. Right? So yeah, it's definitely B. What is the other options? You could do this. You could do it individually. So you could do like cube root of 216, right? So a number times itself 3 times. That would be 6, right? 6 times 6 times 6 is 216, so it's going to be 6. And then over here, do the cube root of negative 64. What number times itself 3 times gives you negative 64? Uh, I think it would be 8 or negative 8, right? Let me double check. Negative 8 times negative 8 times negative 8. Too big. What about 4? Or it would be negative 4, right? Because negative 4 times negative 4 times negative 4 is definitely positive 16 times. Yes. So this would be negative 4. And then what's 6 times negative 4? That is negative 24. So yes, it's B. So do you see what I did? So you can do two ways. You can write this as one singular cube root, right? They have in order to do this, they have to have the same number cube, like a 3 here, or 5 here, 5. But if this was a 3 and then there's no number here, you can't do that, right? But because they're the same, you can do this. Or you could just do it individually and then just times the two numbers together. So for example, the cube root of 216 is 6 because 6 times 6 times 6 is 216. And then the cube root of negative 64. Or in our case, it would be negative 4 times negative 4 times negative 4. And then you would just multiply out these two numbers, and that's how I got the. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Oh, I guess that was a really short lesson. So this is a small taste of perfect cubes and fixed square roots. I mean, obviously I think there is gonna be more practice exams on this class where it has square roots and cube roots. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, check my results because I would never want to give you a wrong answer. Good. 100%. Okay. I will stop here. This was a very short video, but I believe this will come back again later on.